Welcome to the African International Mediation Week. African International Mediation Week 2020. Today, we have our session on the International Seminar on Young Mediators and Mediation Mentors. Today is Wednesday, the 2nd day of December 2020, and this is our session at 1 p.m. East African time. We will be joined in this session by the International Mediation Institute and by the Young Mediators Initiative. Welcome as we prepare to start this session. Take us to handle it.
Okay. Yeah. So, all right. So, sorry everybody who's joining the recording. You've missed most of what I've said, but you know you'll at least get the important part. All right. So about how to become an IMI certified mediator. So, if you have completed some training, okay, you know whether it's an IMI approved training or not, as long as you have the level of experience, a high level of experience, you can still become IMI certified. So you can still get that international gold level of certification. All right. And so the minimum will be 20 mediations or 200 hours. There may be slightly higher benchmarks depending on which program you go for. And the process is, firstly, you're assessed. Okay, so you go to an organization that has what we call an IMI qualifying assessment program, or a QAP, and they will assess you, you know, by a role play or through observation and maybe sort of quizzes or tests or what have you. Once you've been assessed successfully, you will appoint a reviewer who will compile feedback for you, because that's another independence and quality check. Okay, so what that means is that when you do a mediation and you get your conflict parties to provide feedback, okay, your reviewer looks at all of that and says, okay, well, everyone loves this mediator. This is a great mediator, fantastic, and they write basically a summary. And the very last step is to complete your IMI profile. Okay, and we definitely, I would love to see more IMI certified mediators, particularly in Africa. We do have increasing numbers now, particularly in Kenya, which is great. Okay, and today's event is obviously sort of convened in Kenya, so you do have the opportunity. Again, MTI East Africa have a qualifying assessment program, as well as SPIDER in Nigeria and ACDS in South Africa. But I wanted to sort of stress before I hand over to Angela that all are welcome at IMI. Okay, so again, if you've already completed training, you can aim straight to become IMI certified. You can join YMI. You can provide feedback on initiatives, or if you've got ideas, come to us. Okay, talk to us about them. If you've got events such as today's fantastic event, of course, I mean, we're happy to support them. And of course, do feel free to join us on social media, whether it's our linked page and group, whether it's our Facebook, whether it's our Twitter, and we would love to hear from you. Okay, but I'll hand over now though to Angela, who will talk to us about YMI.
Thank you very, very much, Laura. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to share my screen, so bear with me 1 second. A quick thumbs up if you can see my screen.
It's nearly coming through.
Okay, yeah. Lovely. Then I'll just wait a second.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Laura. Thank you very much, Wangari, again for having Laura and myself joining this wonderful week. And thank you, Laura, for allowing us the perspective of where we as young mediators want to end up with, which is exactly the IMI certification. For everyone who has joined the call a little bit late and the recording has just kicked off while we were already in the midst of the discussion, any questions that you have regarding to IMI and to how you can get involved and get your certification and who to address, just let us know, write an email to Laura or myself, and we'll be happy to get back to you. First of all, let me quickly say hi from Paris, France, from my living room. That's where I'm dialing in here. I'm very happy to be on all your screens today and welcome you into my living room. My name is Herberholz, and I'm a professional mediator, trainer, and I'm also the director and co-founder of the Young Mediators Initiative. And in today's session, what I would love to do is to share a little bit of where I'm coming from, where and how YMI was born, the Young Mediators Initiative, how we work together with the International Mediation Institute to get everyone on the right path to mediation excellence, and answer any of your questions that you have, either in the session today. So I encourage you to just post anything in the chat, write Wangari an email, as she put there as well, if you have any questions, or just raise your hand, and we do have time for Q&A afterwards. So with that, I would like to say hello to everyone and get started into convincing everyone that empowerment of our next generation goes through experience generation. I hope at the end of the sessions you will all be on board. If not, challenge me, and I will promise I do my best to bring you on board. So when we speak about the future of mediation, the next generation of mediators is a fundamental pillar. Or I can also rephrase, without the success of newly trained mediators, there is no future of mediation. So since 10 years, I'm privileged to work alongside newly trained mediators to support them on their career path to mediation excellence, help them and myself and the community overall to put one foot in front of the other and not give up on our dream to become and practice mediation. And it all started with a story. I stumbled across the mediation profession by accident. It was 11 years ago during my secondary studies. I heard about this conflict management resolution program at my university, and I got curious and signed up. It was a 150-hour class, and I was trained by wonderful mediators, professionals, lawyers who managed to actually plant the seed of excitement of the mediation profession that has grown since then massively. One of those trainers was the former director of IMI, Irina Vanenkova, who I had the pleasure to exchange with back then. At the end of those 150 hours, I was excited, I was passionate, motivated, and ready to join the world of mediation. But I quickly understood that it is actually not that easy. I'm here, I'm trained, I love to get started, but how, when, with who? All of those questions I wasn't able to answer. And this is exactly the moment where the Young Mediators Initiative was born. Let me share you who we are and what we do. So established in 2010 under the umbrella of the International Mediation Institute, IMI, the Young Mediators Initiative was created to support other young mediators newly trained exactly to answering that question, how, when, and especially how. So YMI is a platform for mediation professionals to connect, to network, to share knowledge, to get in touch with mediation organizations beyond our own institution, and to gain field experience in shadowing, assistantship, internships, co-mediation, and mentorship programs. So 2020 has been a very special year, not only for the mediation profession, but for everyone individually, I believe. Due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, YMI and its members were forced to change the way we conduct mediations, and ODR got to the forefront of our profession. We all had to upskill our technological skills, and we all had to change the way that we promote our service as mediators. I think we are in December now, I think we did a pretty good job. 2020 marks not only a year of personal and professional challenges due to the pandemic, it also marks the 10th anniversary of the Young Mediators Initiative. So we turned 10 years in 2020. Let me share you a bit about our members, the support that we get, opportunities, communities, and how YMI is working. So I mentioned that 2020 is quite special. So we noticed that more than ever, the community and the exchange was of utmost value to our members. So we received many new member requests, and we are able, we checked in 2020 November, we have now 140 members across 40 countries. And compared to last year, that's a 75% increase. This is a testament to the strength of the community and the exchange among ourselves that we really are standing for and want to encourage. So as you can see, we're spread across Africa, Asia Pacific, Europe, North and South America, and we do also have members in Kenya, Nigeria and South Africa. One of our members actually spoke at this Mediation Week. Caleb, I believe 2 days ago, did a very great presentation. So he is part of YMI, and we're very happy to have him. So how does YMI work and how can you become a member? So prior to acceptance to join YMI, everybody needs to have a mediation training, and the set is a 40-hour minimum. As you heard, I've done a very extensive training many years ago, but today's trainings are usually around 40 hours. So this is the bare minimum. We also look at how the members who want to become, how the professionals who want to become a member, what is their role in the ADR community? Do they do any publications? Do they already have maybe mentor references? And maybe they have already started mediation, but they really look for the community so as to grow, are among others criteria that we look forward before accepting. Membership is free of charge. This is something that is very close to our heart. We want to encourage every newly trained mediator to find a community without paying for that. So that's quite unique. We get a lot of great support. We have around 23 organizations who share the same goal as YMI to promote the next generation and promote newly trained mediators on their path. YMI supports mediation advocacy events like the virtual African International Mediation Week that we are taking part in today and this week. And we collaborate with institutions like ICCs to support competitions where students can up their skills in mediation. We communicate with our members on multiple touch points. One is our bi-monthly newsletter where we share ADR events, upcoming opportunities for young professionals, articles, activities that are at an affordable range. Which is very important. And also obviously IMI news and activities that YMI is doing. We also love to feature our members, whatever they publish, whatever is valuable for the community, we love to put them on the forefront because after all, we are the best advocates for each other. So that's something that we are very passionate about. We do have two online communities that our members appreciate very much. We have a Facebook group and a LinkedIn group. They're all organic, so we don't pay anyone to join. And as you can see, quite above our memberships. So those groups are open for anyone interested to exchange with young professionals. And young, I mean, again, not in age, but in experience. And last but not least, something that is important to say, we are able to offer membership for YMI free of charge because we want to kickstart everyone and keep everyone's passion for this profession. And YMI is run on a voluntary basis. So since 10 years, I serve the initiative in my free time. And since 2 years, I am joined by Amy Dharamshi, a young mediator based in India, who supports membership requests and is an absolute angel in supporting this initiative. Also, helping in the back end is Emma Ewart-Kier, former operations manager at IMI and also co-founder of the Young Mediators Initiative. We co-founded it 10 years ago together. And in her time that she has available, she supports the young mediators, our members, to share their ideas, their stories in publications on the IMI blog or Clover Mediation and others. So this is how she is supporting. But last but certainly not least, I really want to stress, and you have her here as well on the screen, that Laura and the IMI board of directors are an enormous pillar of support, without whom neither I nor Amy nor Emma nor any of the members would be able to benefit from YMI. So that is absolutely valuable. What can we specifically do as YMI, and why do I personally believe that mentoring is important? Mediation is an ever-evolving field, making the journey for every mediator a never-ending learning process, which is also quite fabulous in my opinion. Practicing mediators with advanced skills, they have what it takes to take someone on board to help them become the same, a mediator with experience. However, what is the problem? The problem is that every year, all sorts of professionals undergo mediation trainings of all ages for different reasons. Some really want to become mediators, some just are curious, and some just want to have different skill sets for their day-to-day lives. I think it's all very valuable reasons to do a mediation training. Most complete the course, riding the wave of excitement, ready to get started, anxious to practice their skills, very much like the story that I told you in the beginning about myself. But since there are a few career passes and development programs that you can actually opt in when you're done with your training, those ones who want to become mediators and turn their passion into a profession give actually up. There is only a few that make a living out of it, and I'm not advocating that everybody needs to make their full-time rent and life out of mediation, but it is so difficult for newly trained mediators to even gain field experience. So a lot give up, and I believe we are losing a lot of great talents. So how do we overcome the gap between training and practice? I believe the bridge that needs to be built is mentoring. Each training should have a pool of highly qualified mediators who act as mentors. Mediation institutions could establish such a program or subscribe to existing mentoring programs such as IMI and YMI have. However, while participating in these programs should remain voluntary, I do believe that institutions and training organizations can encourage their mediators, their panels, to actually step forward and act as mediators. And if there are mediators who are sitting on a panel of a very esteemed institution who do not offer mentorship yet, why don't you just step forward and say, hey, I would love to become a mentor. Let's roll that out. So I truly believe in empowerment, and field experience is the only way that we can practice our mediation skills. We can read about mediation a lot, we can do a lot of role plays, but it is just not the same. It's like reading about dancing. Can be entertaining. I'm not so sure I get the steps right though. So I do believe that field experience is absolutely crucial, and mentorships can facilitate that. We as mediators have all the skills that we have so as to become a mentor. We have the ability to listen actively without any judgment. We perceive solutions and opportunities. We provide insights, counsel, empathy, respect, flexibility. This list can go over for another hour. So we have what it takes to become a mentor. Then why don't we see more mentors stepping forward and onboarding newly trained mediators? I believe because there is a lot of misperception about what mentorship actually means. What does it have to include? And this is why I'm happy to share with you today what we at IMI and YMI are doing so as to put this forward. Because I truly believe that experienced mediators can make a huge difference to help develop mediation in countries especially where mediation is not yet at the forefront. If we look at 2020 and how technology helped ourselves to still practice mediation using Zoom as we connect today or other platforms, mentorship doesn't stop at a country border or even at a city border. You can easily have someone from the UK who mentors someone in Kenya. And the cross-cultural benefits that this mentorship has is massive. Does it include face-to-face mediation practice? Probably not, because the voyage is a little bit long. But with ODR, we can easily get a young mediator as a mentee into our online mediation sessions and have them practice. So while we occasionally do hear when we speak about with potential mentors, hey, why don't you become a mentor? We do hear, why should I train the competition? However, let me assure you that this is a really, really random note, and it's not true at all. And let me share with you why. Most mediators do understand that in expanding the pool of mediators, so training more mediators, we actually raise the awareness of mediation itself. So the more that mediators that actually open their practices, the more people get aware of mediation actually being a suitable, for some, conflict resolution process. So by training the competition, we actually help ourselves. This is a list of a couple of mentoring benefits that if you are a young mediator and you look for a mentor and you want to convince them, this is something that you can absolutely put forward and say, well, this is what you get out of it. I'm not going to go into the details of what a mentee can get out of it as a newly trained mediators, because we all are pretty much aware of it. But these are just a couple of points that will help you convince this mentor that you would love to work with. So we can, as I said, we can read about dancing, we can talk about mentoring, but what we have to do is actually do it. Okay, so we have to lead the way. We as newly trained mediators need to ask experienced mediators to step forward as mentors, and we as experienced mediators need to put ourselves forward and offer us as a mentor. Because I do believe that collaborative leadership can ensure global access for everyone to emerge in this profession. I believe that mentoring schemes should share best practice examples to encourage others of how it can be done. I believe that mediation trainers are in the duty of not stopping after the training is finished and offering some gateway so as to bridge training and practice. And above all, as I mentioned, we need to step forward to lead the way and not just talk about it. Last but not least, we do preach what we say. So at the International Mediation Institute, we run a mediation framework. We run a mediation mentorship program since its very beginning in 2010, and we have recently focused the framework due to the lessons learned that we had running this program. This is just one example of how it could work. I'm not saying by all means this is how it has to work, but we learned that this is a good way forward and in supporting and giving field experience. So our objectives with a mentorship framework are pretty obviously, after you have listened to what I've said so far. We want to support the next generation of professionals. And we want to empower the mediators on both sides, mentor and mentee, so as to get both benefits out of it. We want to obviously close the gap between training and practice. We want to grant access to the global network because IMI has so many brilliant certified mediators who are practicing on a day-to-day basis, and we can dip in that fantastic pool. So we do have mentors, and we do have a lot of mentees coming in, as I shared, from all over the world who really could benefit from that. And all over as well, we want to follow the high standards that IMI code of conduct is put forward, because we do appreciate that it is not easy to open the door for newly trained mediators that you just met online. So we are very keen on that everyone who's getting involved in this framework respects the code of conduct. How does that work? The framework works around 12 months, where the mentee takes control. YMI obviously helps with matchmaking. There are follow-ups, and we provide guidelines for both. Not everyone who has the skill set, as I mentioned before, can become a mentor, knows how to do it yet, but that's not a problem. We got you covered. We have a short guide of how to get started today, if you're interested. The structure overall is really empowerment of the newly trained mediator, offering them access to field experience, giving them access to the global network, and at the end, obviously follow the pathway and join the IMI certification at the end of it, because that's the golden cherry on the top. Exactly. So it all started with a story worth telling. I hope that you got some inspiration, ideas on how mentorship can work. If there's anything, Laura and I, we have more time to answer any questions, to get challenged of what we do and what we said. And yeah, I would be happy to connect with you through YMI and LinkedIn. So thank you very much. And any questions, Wangari? I don't know if you want to moderate it. If we had any questions.
Great. Thank you so much for that presentation, Laura and Angela. So we have Laura Skillen, who's the Executive Director of the International Mediation Institute, that is IMI, and Angela. Angela, please just give us your name, please.
I appreciate it, Wangari. No, it's a terrible last name. I have to blame my parents for that. It's Herberholz. It's German, so there's H's everywhere.
Herberholz. Okay,
Herberholz.
That's possible. Yeah, that's possible. Angela Herberholz, who's the co-founder and director of the Young Mediators Initiative. And so this was a presentation on the Young Mediators Initiative. We started off with the presentation on the International Mediation Institute and how to become certified. So we'll invite the three mediators who are giving us a brief in this particular session, and then we can also be able to open up for any further questions or comments that anyone may be having. So we will have insights from Rashid Mbwiza, who is a young mediator Rashid Mbwiza. And then we will go to Pakuto Peter, who is from Uganda, and he's the team leader at the Uganda West Nile Mediation Center, and he's also the co-host for the African International Mediation Week. And then we will now come to Phyllis Wangwe. So we will receive their insights, and then Laura and Angela, you may either respond or comment, and then we can be able to still now take up if there are any questions. So Rashid.
Thank you, Wangari, for the opportunity. Okay. Yeah, just to begin, I'd like to start with a bit of my history, how I came to become a mediator and what I aspire to be. First, I'm a lawyer, currently not yet admitted to the bar, but I'm waiting for things to clear up with the Council for Legal Education. So my background was not targeted to future conflict resolution in ADR, but it was focused. I had focused on litigation as a practitioner. However, circumstances emerged that I had to devise some conflict resolution skills for myself and for my future as a professional. I got to interact with a few people who inspired me that mediation could be actually the appropriate dispute resolution mechanism that I need as a young person. So since 2017, I began the journey. 2018, I went to law school. And then 2019, I did my mediation course in January. And since 2019 up to today, I've been a professional mediator, and I've done mentorship, and I went ahead and registered a business name. But it's been very, I can say, crazy for me because I haven't had the experience outside the mentoring. See, the mentor who mentored me focused on my observations of the mediations, but after that, we didn't go ahead and see then what's next. Like, what is the appropriate, for instance, what would be the appropriate form of business association that I should venture in? Should I be a sole proprietor and open a consultancy? Should I venture into, should I form a company, or should I join a company or a partnership? Or should I venture into limited liability partnerships? In short, I did not know what would be the appropriate form of business association to involve myself in. So I've spent the past 1.5 years networking and interacting with other mediators and learning on how to navigate my way forward so that I do not get lost or lose the enthusiasm that I have. I also enjoy giving back to the community because my inspiration in mediation originates from an anthropologist who connected me with a senior mediator in the UK, and we got to see how mediation can assist the community, and how mediation interacts with the faith of the locals and the law of the land. So for me, mediation is not just a professional cause, it's a calling. So I appreciate WIML for creating this opportunity to learn and to share, and also to get to network. So I hope I haven't taken much of my time, but I'm grateful for the opportunity. Back to you, Wangari.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, that is young mediator Rashid Mbwiza, and he moderates and commentates during our sessions. So that has been part of his learning journey or engagement. I invite Peter Pakuto from Uganda.
Thank you so
Sebo,
much.
how are you?
Very well. How are you?
I am very well. How is everybody back at home?
Very fine. Thank you so much. Thank you, Angela,
Okay.
for the presentation.
Welcome.
And I wanted to really say something about mentorship. At the West Nile Mediation Center, we have a challenge. I myself, I am not really a very good mentor. And so my team has been struggling with mentorship issues, building confidence in them that, you know, they can work things happen. At the West Nile Mediation Center, it's our daily routine to do mediations. Every day we do about 1 or 2 mediations. We have a big challenge in specialization. Sometimes we have complex mediation cases. We also do court-annexed mediation services, and most of these mediations are sent to us by the courts. And being that we are the pioneer mediation center within our region, we are overwhelmed with some of these matters. For example, a case of personal injury, a case to do with insurance. Sometimes we do not really have the capacity to engage in technical mediations. We end up either referring them to the Insurance Institute, or if it is an engineering mediation, we end up co-opting an engineer as a mediator to do the adjudication. So my real challenge is in terms of mentorship, and Angela and Laura together, someone has already sent me a link that, you know, I can be able to read something about mentorship. And also, this is something that I personally underwent, but I do not really have the ability to be a good mentor to some of my team members. So in developing a solution for that, I have co-opted some of mentors from the women mediators across the Commonwealth. who help some of my team members, especially the ladies, to do mentorship for them. They do have partners here in Uganda as well. And also the MBBI, who also help to do mentorship for my teams. So it has been really a very good area of interest to me because I've seen it working for my team members. That is the little that I wanted to say for now. Thank you so much, Wangari.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Sibyl. And we invite Mediator Wangwe, Phyllis Wangwe, kindly. Phyllis Wangwe.
Hello, can you hear me? Good afternoon. It's afternoon, Kenya. I don't know where you are, how it is. It's really been a brilliant session. I've enjoyed myself. And as in some of the previous sessions, they have said is that there's no end to learning. There is no end to learning wherever you are. There's no end to learning. So a bit of my background is that I started out as a banker and I eventually trained as a lawyer. I am an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. But it was in my last year, let's say the 4th year of my law degree, that I came across this ADR. And I thought, wow, this is beautiful. Why don't we ever hear about this more? And even when I finished my law degree, I continued working with the bank for some time as I could not venture out because the bank was paying my bills. And so I continued training here and there. And as you say, there are times you may have trained, but until you practice, you cannot really say you've got it. You cannot, because I believe after my initial training to when I did my first official mediation was quite a while. Though in the course of my working in the bank, I realized I did a lot of mediations because at that time we had very many bad debts and they had been taken to court. But due to my legal background, I understood that taking the matter to court is not the end of it. As long as a judgment has not been passed, parties are always free to mediate. And it's at that point that with my legal background, I introduced that to the banking section. And I made them understand, apparently they did not know. They knew as long as a matter had gone to court, that was the end of it. So during my tenure in the debt recovery unit at the bank, we got so many matters from out of court and we negotiated with them and we came up with amicable solutions. And I mean, it was a win-win for all the parties because the matters had been in court for some of them for over 10 years and all that, but we have managed to get them out, and within a year or so, I had actually settled quite a number of matters, actually over 100. I had actually managed to put over 100 matters from court back to the bank, and we settled, we gave them a settlement agreement, which was filed, and that was the end of the matter. And the client was happy, the staff were happy, and eventually the staff in my department also picked it up. So that is the part that, that was a bit of my background and how I finally got into mediation per se. I got into it slowly, as you can see. And now, in my legal practice, when I left the bank and went into my legal practice, I knew I was definitely going to do ADR, alternate dispute resolution, or the best. But interestingly, it doesn't pay the bills. So that's the real life. So I have combined with other litigas issues, but right now when you come to my law firm, I concentrate on ADR and the other staff now concentrate on the litigas matters. It's interesting we're talking about mentoring today. Honestly, as Peter has said, we don't have proper structures on mentorship in many cases. And actually, I think that is one area I'd also like to tap in and see exactly how you have structured it, and see also how we can mentor other people, and also train maybe mediators on training others. Because as you say, and as I've also realized, particularly in the legal sector, you cannot make it on your own. You cannot make it on your own. For you to do well as a lawyer, you must have other lawyers around you. Because again, you find that as a lawyer, you cannot authenticate your documents. Another lawyer has to endorse for you. You know, you can't swear for yourself. you must swear before another lawyer. So that is the beauty I've come to learn in the legal practice. And just as you have said, it's the same thing I believe that also applies in mediators. Once people are more aware of what we are doing, then we'll have more markets. We'll be able to influence more, and we'll have actually more work. And actually, I think going forward, as I'd always wanted, I think I'm going to concentrate more on the training and mentorship part, so that we can have more in the boat, and more food on the table. The more the merrier, I believe so. This is where it is. So thank you very much for your presentation. I believe I've picked a few items that I'm going to apply. And also, if there are any people here who want to be mentored, what I know from experience is this. Once or twice, a member has approached me to mentor them. But I'm a busy person. So unless you keep following up with me and finding out when I'm available, I may say, fine, I'll mentor you. But by the time it comes for mentoring, by the time I get a matter, because as a mediator, you don't always determine when you're going to get matters, particularly now that I'm running a law firm. So it depends on when it comes. And when it comes, if you've not called me and reminded me, I'll just continue with the process. So for the people who would like to be mentored, once you approach somebody to mentor you, don't give up. Keep checking on them. Maybe every 2 or 3 months, find out, is there a matter that you can sit in and see how to go through it? Yes. So for me, I've enjoyed the practice. I'm continuing to enjoy the practice, and I look forward to more structured ways of mentoring other young people in the profession, young in age in terms of they've just come in and they are young, but also we realize that many times that people leaving their job market at the age of 50, 60, and they get into mediation. So I'm also very keen to also work with them, depending on how we can collaborate. Thank you very much, Wangari, for organizing this function.
Yes, thank you to our colleagues for those comments. Phyllis, Mediator Phyllis, Wangwe, Mediator Pakuto, Peter from Uganda, and also young mediator Rashid. You kindly allow we can take in and the next set of comments, so that you can just be able to put it all together, Laura and Angela. Ian Mushiri, could you speak? Ian Mushiri. We can have Ian Mushiri, Pauline Wahinya, Bernard Rotich, and Fred Kamiti. And then there are comments on the chat. Angela will kindly, when she's speaking, she can be able to go through those ones. Ian Mushiri, are you able to speak? Okay. Yes, please, Ian. Yes, please.
Thank you for the session.
Welcome.
Personally, I'm called Ian from Baringo. I'm a new mediator. I just trained. I trained this year on August, and I'm also a psychological counselor, a teacher by profession. So I've been looking forward, as it has been said there, training is not everything. You might train, but now the practice is what is very important here. So I'm really learning a lot from what has been said since morning, especially this one for the young mentorship, young trainers. I'm in for it. But also we need, under the private mediation, we need to be subjected to most of what is happening around us. Because you find that in a school setting, for example, there are a lot of conflicts between teachers, students, teachers, or even workers, parents, which we have been solving. But you find that we don't know that we are doing the mediation. Yeah, so in most cases, you might not know that you're doing the mediation. But when you take it professionally, then you add in the skills. And basically, I think when you have a mentor, and as Madam has said there, it is us to look for the mentors, not the mentors to look for us. That is when now we learn properly. Otherwise, I'm good. Thank you for the opportunity, and I'm up for the task. In fact, I'll be very glad to look at the notes and even join the young mediators. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ian. We will thank you. Yes, thank you, Ian, for your comments. We will be able to take Fred committee, your comments, and then we can come to Pauline Wahinya and Bernard Rotich. Then Laura and Angela can respond. Fred, are you able to speak?
How are you?
Okay.
How are you, Wangari?
Very well, thank you. Yes.
Yeah, my name is Fred Kamiti from Nakuru, Kenya. I'm pleased to have the presentations were so helpful on my side. I am a court annexed mediator in Kenya, and I am affiliated to Jasilo Conflict Resolution Center, where we are actually doing mentoring. But let me say that I have got a pool of experience now that I'm getting experience from what the other side of the world does, because I feel that our kind of mentoring is actually so different from what I have had been explained. And actually, let me say, I have gotten so much knowledge, especially from Angela, who has actually inspired us on various ways of mentoring. And we shall be able to follow that. We shall try to practice it in our country and see how it will come through. I have also appreciated so much for getting the links that you have sent in the chat that we shall be using for mentoring our people. Thank you. Thank you, Wangari.
Okay, asante sana. Thank you, Mediator Fred Committee. Mediator Pauline Wahinya. Pauline Wahinya.
Yes, good afternoon, Wangari and the panelists, everyone who is in this Zoom. Mine, I've been a mediator for the last 2 years now. My background, I'm a banker by profession, and I have really enjoyed it because I was fortunate to be mentored by FIDA Kenya, and I've gone through. I am doing now. I have not done much on commercial, which I can do very well because of my banking background, but I have familiarized myself with family matters. And what I have seen in my line of mediation now, we don't have many young mediators. In fact, we were listening this topic when Angela was giving her presentation with my son. And I told him he will contact IMI so that he can get familiar with the young mediators, because it is an opportunity which is not exploited by many people. So thank you very much, Angela. I have learned a lot. I didn't know there is that IMI. I didn't know there is the young mediators. So thank you very much, because it has been wonderful for us to learn, and learning is a process. It's not an event. So thank you very much. I hope, Wangari, you will organize for young mediators. I think the WIML should have a young chapter for young mediators so that they can be connected with the rest of the world, so that we see as WIML how we can be able to mentor them, especially us who are mentored. Thank you very much. That was very insightful, and I have gained a lot. Wangari, thank you very much. WIML. This has been a wonderful week. I didn't know it would turn out to be like this. We are not yet at the end, but I have learned so much. Thank you very much.
Okay, yes. Yeah, thank you, Mediator Pauline. We always say that great things happen when mediators come together. So when we now also have internationally we come together, then I'm sure greater things also get to happen. Mediator Bernard Rotich. And also, as Bernard Rotich is also getting to speak, we request that if we can be able to get a group photo together. So if your video can be on, it will be a great delight. Bernard Rotich, are you able to speak? Bernard Rotich? Okay. So allow me to then invite Laura. We have some comments and also some inquiries that have been given. If you could kindly either add to the comments or reassure us that we are still on the path and we are getting there, and also challenge us in the process, and also Angela. And then Laura, after your comments, we will be able to close. Yeah,
absolutely. Thank you, Wangari. Let me go first. Laura just said her mailman is at the door, so I'm gonna share a little bit about what I wanted to say. Well, first of all, thank you everyone for sharing your stories. I loved every single one of them. I congratulate you all who are new to the profession or old to the profession, and once again, not about the age, but in the experience. I really love to see so many motivated potential mentors around the screen. So one of the things that I wanted to underline is that the Young Mediators Initiative has students as members, but also has retired judges, because as Felice, you said that most of a lot of people come to this profession quite late in their career, and we do see the same across our membership. I also would love to comment on Rashid, who said he benefited from mentoring, and he, however, afterwards felt a little bit left alone to how to set up actually a business. And I just wanted to encourage you, Rashid, because you're not alone. We usually, mediation is an add-on. So you either are a lawyer and add this to your skill box, or you we have heard some bankers around the screen, or you have your day job that actually does pay the bills, and then you add mediation to it, right? What we tend to forget is, because we are already involved in one part of our income, that mediation is nothing else, if you want to open a business, like a startup mentality. It's you doing a startup, offering your own services. And if you follow any startup strategies, any ideas around that, this is absolutely valuable. And I can only underline that we mediators need to underline how we promote ourselves and the service a little bit different. This is my personal opinion. It's a startup, you sell the product, and you are part of the product. So this is maybe something that I like to give to everyone who is setting up their own business. Other than that, I would love to pass over to Laura. Invite everyone who wants to become a mentor to reach out. Everyone who wants to become a mentee into the structure, reach out, and everybody who wants to learn more about it, I'm happy to jump on another call, exchange emails. I'm here. So thank you. Laura.
Thank you, Angela. You're a superstar as always. And echoing what she said, I mean, absolutely. If you have questions, if you want to sort of participate in some way with IMI or with YMI, please just reach out at any time. Everybody is welcome. I also wanted to touch on a couple of things that the commenters said, actually. I was particularly interested in what Peter said at the West Nile Mediation Centre about how there's little time to mentor because they have, it sounds like, a lot of demand, okay? So demand for ADR services or demand for mediation. So, I mean, I understand that must be really difficult in terms of finding time to mentor, but it also gives me a lot of hope and optimism about the state of mediation and how it's treated in Uganda. So I would love to connect more about that, Peter, and sort of actually hear how you've managed to gain this success, okay? Because I think that's a lesson that could be shared more generally. And I also wanted to actually comment on something Phyllis said, and this echoes a little bit what Peter said as well, because Peter pointed out how there's need for expertise, for example, in insurance for mediators in that region. And Phyllis mentioned that, you know, when she was in her previous banking career, she was doing effectively mediation there. And I'm going to say something a little bit controversial, but I think that this highlights that A, mediation skills are valuable in a variety of careers, but B, that you don't have to be a lawyer to be a mediator, okay? Lawyers can be mediators and lawyers can be mediation advocates, but you can also be mediators in other spheres and be excellent at it, okay? And that is something I would like to stress, because then we can collaborate across these sort of, legal boundaries and what have you in terms of being lawyers or not lawyers. But with that said, I mean, we don't want lawyers doing litigation to see mediators as competition, all right? Because that's not what it's about. This is just a different way of doing things. And there is room for lawyers in the process, okay? Again, they can be mediators or they can be mediation advocates, and they have a very valuable skill set and a very valuable knowledge, okay? But in many countries, we see this challenge happening where, lawyers don't want to include the mediators, okay? Because they feel like it's a threat to themselves. And that leads as well to what Phyllis said in terms of, well, how can you make this a money-paying business? Because it sounds like the ADR bit is sometimes squeezed out. I mean, I think the best I can do is reassure you at this point, this is a challenge facing every market, okay? But it does change, and it is changing over time. And we are seeing more and more lawyers who were previously sort of going, well, what is this mediation thing going on, to say, well, actually, yeah, we can work together and get better outcomes for everybody involved without hurting their own bank accounts, right? And so I think that's really promising. And I mean, I think that I know I had a question, but I can't recall what it was. But one of the other things actually, and so you mentioned, Phyllis, that when you went to law school, you didn't actually start learning about ADR until 4th year. And again, this is something, I mean, I'm glad that you had ADR at all in law school, okay? Because that's not a given. That's not a given, but it's great, okay? And certainly this is a finding we've had globally, right? Is that people really want there to be ADR training in law school, but also in business school. I mean, also in life more generally, right? As just a basic communication skill set. But I mean, I think that I like that this is actually being accepted. I mean, we've seen that India now has new legislation where they're going to have compulsory mediation training for law schools, and it would be great to see more of that. But I guess I wanted to give the overall message that you're not alone in the challenges faced wherever you are, because they're the same challenges we're seeing all over the world. And that's part of what IMI sets out to actually address, right? We want mediation as a profession. We want this to be accessible, and not just because we love mediators, although we do, but because we value this as an actually fantastic way to resolve conflicts and also to have better agreements overall. Okay. But perhaps if we could all turn our cameras on for a second, and I'll do a little screenshot, because I think we're all looking very glam, apart from my kitchen, all right? So it'd be great to sort of take that little memento, and I'll send it to Wangari to perhaps forward around. Okay. Wangari's now gone sideways somehow.
Okay, I'm taking now. I'm okay.
All right. Yes, you're the right way up now. And now my computer's not cooperating. Here we go. All right, so maybe Rashid, Pauline, Washika, and Lydia, are you able to turn your cameras on at all?
I know Washika is not on video at all.
Okay.
Her device doesn't show video, but for the other colleagues, perhaps, yes. I see Bernard now. Anyone else who's able to get on?
Sounds like no. Okay, all right. So smile on 3, or if you're not comfortable smiling, do whatever feels good to you, okay? So 1, 2, 3. All right, and let me just check. Everyone looks great. Okay, yes, good job all. All right, well done. So I'll send that around. So thank you so much to all of you for your time. It's been lovely chatting with you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Laura. That was today we had Laura Skillen, who's the executive director of the International Mediators Mediation Institute, that is IMI, and Angela Herberholz, who's the co-founder and director of the Young Mediators Initiative. We've also had a commentary from our colleagues, including also Peter Pakuto, who's a co-host to our. We've also had comments from Peter Pakuto, who's also co-host of the African International Mediation Week. I would like to remind colleagues that we have other sessions today, and our next session is coming up at 3:30 p.m., followed by 4:30 p.m. today, East Africa time. And we have also 6 p.m. today, and the closing session today is at 8 p.m. to 10 p.m., where we will be speaking about how you can be able to develop a business model and a strategy and marketing for your mediation enterprise. So we are looking forward to be with you all. The details are on the WhatsApp, and they are also on the WIML website for the full program. So please make sure that you visit and get all the information that you need about WIML, the next part of the course. So Laura, I thank you also for the additional resources that you have given us, and we will colleagues will be able to look at them, and also any others that you send, we will be able to put them up on the website. Even if they are links, then they can be accessed through there. So with that, I wish to take us through to close this session, and we will close this session. Just as we started, we will close with the words of the Kenyan National Anthem in Kiswahili. Mungu nguvu yetu, ilete baraka kwetu, haki iwe ngao na mlinzi, na tukae na undugu, amani na uhuru, raha tupate na ustawi. I thank you once again. Thank you for joining us for this session, which was an international seminar on young mediators and mediation mentors on the 2nd day of December in the year 2020 at the African International Mediation Week and Strategy Conference. Thank you, and God bless you. Have a good rest of the day.
Bye-bye.
See you.